Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tony Adams' YouTube channel. And you can see I've kind of set up a different way to normal, trying to get this sound card to work. But that's none of your concern. Welcome back, Tony. How are you?
Yeah, doing well, Steve. Footy season's chugging along. Been a big 24 hours in rugby league, as always. We've seen our first coach go for the year, poor Jason Demetrio. And I've got to say, I feel sorry for him. He's a genuinely nice guy. He was in a very delicate situation, shall we say, at Souths with the way they finished last year with Sam Burgess walking out and making claims that players were receiving preferential treatment. I think we all knew that he was skating on thin ice, as we say, and he had to start this year well. Of course, South have started the year very poorly. They're virtually last on the ladder. And South pulled the trigger today, and it looks like Wayne Bennett's coming back next year with Ben Hornby warming the seat for him.
Yeah, so Nick Politis, not Nick Politis. This is what I did the other day. Yesterday I tried to send Nick Pappas a text because he's supposedly here in London. I already was here in London, and I actually sent it to Nick Politis. So it would have been
Oh,
about
dear.
it would have been about 3 a.m. when he got it. Sorry, I'm sure Nick's not listening or watching. So, but if you are, sorry. Yeah, so you don't think the likes of Willie Peters or Sam Burgess might be considered?
No, I don't think so. I think Wayne Bennett's got such an awe in the game, as we know, and he's been at South before, and the South chief executive Blake Solly all but said on air today that he's the man we want. So they brought David Ferner in the last few days, who had a brief stint at Leeds that didn't end very well, but he's a successful NRL coach. He just joined the staff a few weeks ago. I actually thought he was going to be the caretaker. That was the male. But then yesterday, a pretty dramatic day. South had a board meeting in the morning. They couldn't come up with a decision. They postponed it till the afternoon, and Ben Hornby got the job. And I think that was as a result of Wayne Bennett saying, yeah, I'll come down next year, but I want my man Ben in charge and not David Ferner. I don't know this, but just putting all the dominoes together, I think that's what happened. And if you're a betting man, you'd have Wayne Bennett as coach and Ben Hornby as his assistant next year at South.
So very, very interesting. A great insight there, Tony. Now, this week you haven't got midweek scoops, but you got a midweek scoop, and it's a big one. And you asked me this morning whether I'd read the story, and I'd read the headline like a lot of people. I guess maybe a lot of people come to these videos because they haven't read the story, and maybe we can encourage them to do so. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also go to the show notes and read Tony's column at Wide World of Sports, Channel 9 Wide World of Sports. But it's a big story you've got about a youngster called Lloyd Perrett who was at the Sea Eagles.
Yeah, that's right. And I've got to say, it's one of the most shocking stories I've had to write in 40 years in this business. Lloyd was training with Manly in 2017. It was the pre-season. They went on a run, and when they finished the run, the trainer said to him, "Now do the run again, and no one take any water. If you want some water, get your car keys." Because you're out of the club, Lloyd understood. He said to me, they play these mind games. We've got to go along with them. They're the boss, and we've got to do it. So he went on the run a second time, and they finished that, and then they said again. The trainer said, "Go on a run a third time." So he shrugged his shoulders and he took off, and that's the last thing he remembered. He woke up in hospital. He'd suffered a seizure that became a coma. I'm not a doctor, but basically he suffered heat exhaustion. And he later found out that 60% of people who suffer this actually die. And he was told to take legal action at the time. He didn't, because his manager said, "You'll win your case, but you'll never play footy again." So he thought, well, I'll back myself to get back. But his body was never the same again. They did all these tests on him, and his blood work was poor. By then, a new Manly administration came in. That trainer was gone. That coach was gone. I'm not going to name names for legal reasons. And they said to him, "We can make you well again, but the drugs will be labelled performance enhancing by the NRL, and you'll be forced out of the game." So that was basically the end of his career, and he walked away. But then there was a few years later a case of a fellow called Keith Titmus, who actually died after suffering heat exhaustion at a Manly training session. And only recently there was an inquiry into his death that discovered it was heat exhaustion. And poor old Lloyd, when he heard this, he said it to me, he just broke down and cried. He knew Keith Titmus, they were actually teammates. And he said, that could have been me. And he said, I cried like a baby. And that's when he decided to take legal action. So that's where we're at right now. He's taking action against the Manly club, but I should emphasise that no one who was associated with the Manly club back then in 2017, 2018 is at Manly now. So the legal action could be more wide-reaching, shall we say. So it's a very moving story. You should, I urge listeners to have a look at it, because the quotes are really almost put a tear in your eye. You know, football was his life, and it was just taken away from him by basically allegedly negligent trainers, shall we say. And it's hard to believe in this day and age that they would deprive players of water when they know the dangers of dehydration. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, 7 years ago. Sports science has been very sophisticated for the last 10 or so years. If this had happened in the 1980s, we would have believed it. But to have it happen in 2017, quite unbelievable. So it'll be a very interesting court case. Let's put it that way.
Tony, I saw that you're a bit shocked at some of the reaction you've been getting. Perhaps some people equating it to the Canterbury case where the guy was late for training and didn't like wrestling. They're pretty different.
Yeah, exactly. I posted, people are saying stuff like "harden up, princess," and stuff like this. I said, the bloke almost died. Can you like go a little bit easy on him? And it's not like he gave up. He went on that fateful third run and he collapsed. He has no memory of what happened. So his body was obviously just shutting down. His brain was just shot. And he collapsed into a coma. So I don't know how much tougher a guy can be.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like he shirked it. So it is a shocking story, Tony. We'll see. I mean, what is the timeline for this reaching court, and what's the situation with what can we expect the next development to be?
It's probably going to be months, and even with the way the legal system is here in Australia, could even be a year or two. It might never get to court. In that it might get settled out of court, because I think there are a few people who will be looking at this and thinking, we don't want this in court. So things have a way of getting resolved before they reach the court. And of course the media, you can imagine the media storm court case like this will create. So our lawyers will talk to your lawyers, and we'll see what happens. I reckon that's a very good chance of happening in this case.
Certainly a huge story, Tony. So congratulations on that one, and we'll speak again next week.
Thanks, Steve.